Hi. So, as part of my network upgrade series, I've been flashing my routers with OpenWrt. So I bought, as I mentioned before, I bought 4 new Linksys EA8300 routers on eBay, and so they're the ones I'm using. So the process, I'll take you through it from start to finish. So if you're going to buy a router, come here. So how do I get here? I just typed in OpenWrt in Google, and it's come up here with supported devices. So the best thing to go here is table of hardware, and that brings you into this massive great table with the brands and models and stuff here. So if you're looking for something to buy, if you're looking on eBay, have a look, see a router, come in here, type in the brand, and you can type in the model number as well, or you can just, if you see a few of that particular brand, and then you can just go through the model numbers that are here and see if that one's available or that one's available, next one's available, and what have you. So these are all the Linksys ones, and mine's an EA8300. So that brings me here, and current release is 2203.2, which that's actually not quite up to date. Anyway, so device page, that takes you to the Linksys page, which is what I want to do. So come here to click this link, and it takes you to the OpenWrt page about the router. Tells you what's supported. Sometimes the devices here and not everything is supported. So it'll say here not supported, or sometimes they carry a warning up here. But this one says 2.4 gigahertz BGN, 5 AN and AC, which is fine. Don't know anything else really here. So check the recovery method, the installation method. So GUI REM. So basically it says you can install it using the GUI that comes with the router, which is fantastic. So come over to here, and you want the install link, and you can tell it all this stuff here is just a version number and then the router stuff. And then I don't know what squashfs means. Squashy file system. And then there's factory.bin, and then there's sysupgrade.bin. So the factory one is the one that you want. If you've already got a version of OpenWrt installed, then you would get the sysupgrade version. But we've got the squashfs version. So click that and download it. It's coming down. This is, there it is. Scan it. Okay, that's downloaded. I don't need those. Right. So that's it there in that folder, squashfs factory.bin. So let's go to the router. So I've plugged the router in. I have put in the LAN cable into one of the LAN ports and powered it on, and it's now come up. And let's have a look here. ipconfig. So it's given me an IP address. This is the motherboard IP address. This is an external USB Ethernet adapter I've got, and that's given me an address of 192.168.1.119, and the default gateway 192.168.1.1. That's the default address for the router. So let's go to that address. B forward 192.168.1.1. And there we go. So this is the very first part of it. And we don't want to do any of, I'm not interested in any of the stuff that's on there. I've decided to replace it. So I'll come in here. I mean, I don't have to. You could use it and try it out. But I've already decided to. So I'm going to click manual Okay. Set the license. Manual configuration. Okay, now I need to. It needs a password. I think there's no password, so just click sign in. Okay, password. Just going to try admin. Sign in. Looks like it worked. Okay, so that's that. Then come down here to connectivity. It may be different on different routers. This is Linksys. So now the firmware update. So this is the way to do install a new version of the firmware. So click choose file. Okay, so that's the folder, OpenWrt folder where it was. So I'm just going to click that. Click open. And then don't click OK down here. I did that once. You have to click start here. And that's it. Just click start. And it just gives you the warning. Do you want to continue? Yes. And away we go. The router is rebooting. While it's rebooting, we can keep track of what it's doing. All the lights are off at the moment. The good thing about the Linksys routers is that they have, or certainly this range, they've got 2 boot partitions. So you've always got one to fall back to. So you can install it on one and leave the other one unchanged. So it's still booting. Oh, looks like it's partially up already. Still says it's booting. But the orange light is flashing on the front of it, which says it's not ready yet. But it's allocated me an IP address. It's probably going through, working out what it's doing. Right, I'll pause this for a minute, rather than blabber on. Right, so that's finished, and that's now booted. Just check we've still got an IP address. Not yet. Oof. Okay, don't panic. That was a little bit of a little bit nervous there for a minute. Okay, so I've got an IP address now. Right, so let's go and reload this. Delete. And there we go. Here we have OpenWrt running Lucy. Let's log in. And here we are. And that was it. That was as difficult or as hard as you want to make. Now, the interesting thing here, which is where it now gets really interesting. If you see, we've got interfaces, wireless, and we've got switch. And this means we are not running the DSA version of OpenWrt. We are running an earlier version, pre-DSA, or in some respects, people have said this is kind of like a hybrid version, which has some interesting quirks. Kernel version here is 5.10.146, and in order to be running DSA, you need well, actually, I'm not quite sure, but it needs to be running a later version. Kernel version needs to be 5.15 or greater. But the problem with that is that you can't install that. So this router has got an install partition or a boot partition separate from its data storage, and the default size is 3 megabytes, and that's not big enough to take the larger kernel kernel size of 515. So first thing we need to do is upgrade that partition size. So we need to start putty, and we will connect to 192.168.1.1. Accept, login as root, and we're in. This is difficult or as easy as it gets. Now, right. So I found this page on GitHub about the EA6350, the EA8300, which is my one, and the MR8300, which is very similar. And in fact, I got confused when I was downloading the original image for this, and I downloaded the MR8300 and loaded that onto my router. Now, normally that would be a disaster and you would brick it, but luckily the two of them are actually similar enough. It actually worked fine. The only thing that didn't work was I couldn't control the LEDs on the front, but everything else worked, which was quite bizarre. Anyway, so the instructions here say, in order to install the later version of the kernel, you need to increase the default kernel partition size from 3 to 5 megabytes. And there are some instructions here on how to do it. If I can find them. There we go. Right. FW print env. Oops. Control C. So let's see. So run that command. And that gives me a whole load of things. Boot partition 2. Kernel size 300,000. Okay. That's what it says. Is the one that shows it's not right. The L3 megabit kernel. So next issue FW setenv 500,000. Control C. Shift insert. Seems to have done it. And now we have a look and we see kernel size equals 500,000. And that's it. Now we're ready to flash the new OpenWrt firmware image from your current OpenWrt or Linksys OEM partition. So now I wasn't too sure about this. So what I did, you can't make a backup because the config is completely different between the two devices, so that's a waste of time. But what I did basically was, it says once you've set it, that's it. You don't need to do anything else. So what I'm going to do is boot to the other partition. So what we do to do that is, first of all, you need to download the Linksys Enhanced Boot Manager. So let's do that now. Okay, I found the page. It's actually on the MR8300 page on the OpenWrt website. So it's got the instructions on how to install it, and it says here it's for the 6350, 8300, or the MR8300. So basically what you have to do is, as I said, you have to install an earlier version, then you can issue the command to say increase the size of the boot partition, and then you can install the larger kernel. So first thing to do is come down here and then install Linksys Advanced Boot. Yeah. Right, I'm going to have to install. I'm going to have to plug in. So when I first powered this router up, I didn't put in, because I didn't want it to get any updates or do anything. I only plugged in the LAN cable. I didn't plug in the WAN cable. So I'm going to have to plug in the WAN cable in order to get access to the repositories to do an installation. So bear with me 1 minute. Right, so that should now have an upstream internet connection. So let's do opkg updat, and good. That's downloading new packages. Right, and then let's opkg install Linksys App Advanced Reboot. Press enter. Goes off and does it. And let's flip back to Linksys, and let's just refresh this page. Now, with any luck, okay, we haven't got the enhanced reboot. Hasn't come active yet. So I'm going to reboot this, and then hopefully then it will pick up the, there's probably a command to restart Linksys, but I can't remember it. I don't know it. Let's reboot the router, and that should be there then. Okay, so that looks like it's rebooted now. Let's try refreshing this page again. Okay, log in, and now, there we go, we've got the advanced reboot menu. So this shows the two partitions now. We've got Linksys on the original partition, and then, so that's the one we booted originally, and then when we installed on what was the alternate, which is partition 2, when we installed OpenWrt. And that's now the active partition. So what I'm going to do is reboot to the alternate partition, and then I'm going to reinstall version version of OpenWrt with the 5.15 kernel. So let's reboot to alternate partition. Yes, proceed. Actually, first of all, I'm going to unplug the upstream WAN cable. I don't want it to get ahead of itself. That's unplugged, and now proceed. Now, while that's rebooting, let's go and get our new copy of OpenWrt. So I found this. You can go and build your own version of OpenWrt because it's not officially supported. So on 5.15, because you have to go through this special install process. So you can go to the snapshot tool, and the problem is it thought it had access via the old router, and it's come back up again probably. Yeah, and it's still trying to, because I've got two internet connections here, one of which has gone away, so it's going to take a little while till it realizes one's gone. Okay, well that's doing that. Give me a minute. Let's go back to Lucy, because that looks like it's now being rebooted. So let's, and here we go. Here is the Linksys running again. I'm in connectivity. Okay, so this is all ready now to reload a new file, and that should overlay the existing OpenWrt that we already installed. Okay, so let's go back to here. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to unplug the router, and then hopefully that will sort that out. Let's try that again. There we go. Straight in. because it's only got one route. So it said, right, I'll send it out through the one that's there. Okay, so now you can customize what you want to get. So a couple of things on this. Customize install package. So this is everything that's going to be on it. Now, when I first did this, you'll notice if you're eagle-eyed, there is no Lucy on here. So let's install Lucy. Let's install the Lucy app advanced reboot, and let's install Nano. So basically, you key in all the packages that you want in your default build, and that's it. It builds you your own personalized copy of OpenWrt with all the packages that you want in it. I think it's absolutely amazing. And so just request build. Because these ones, because these are like testing versions, they don't include Lucy, they don't include a load of things. So you need to if you want to use it, you need to put in the extra packages that you want. Anyway, so request rebuild, depending on how busy it is, depending on what time of day you do. It can be quite quick. Right, so let's just let that run. Oh. Okay, so that is the build complete. It says build successful. Standard error. Because list missing. No. Done it. STD out. Nothing there. Looks like it didn't work. So standard error. Standard build right now. I need to download it. All right, yeah, custom downloads. So I can download the custom factory install, or to upgrade a route that's already there. This can be used with the Lucy web interface or the terminal. So as I said, I'm going to reinstall from scratch again. So let's do that. Download this one. So, right, there's the thing. Okay, and here is the software that I just downloaded. There's a special fingerprint that shows it's my one. And it's exactly 74, IPQ40XX, generic Linksys EA8300, squash FS, factory.bin. So, let's get that one installed. So go back to the GUI here, choose file. What's that saying? Don't know what that's about. What do we get here? So, yeah. Why does it think it's not connected to it? Because it's not connected to it. Because I unplugged it, didn't I? Okay, let's try that again. Let's just choose that file again, doing the safe side. Right. There we go. I'm now connected to it. And let's upgrade. Again, so this should replace the copy that's on the other side. Yes. Okay, let's wait while that upgrades. Okay, so I can tell that it's come up because it's discovered a new network. So let's say yes, and this can just stop. We'll give up on that, delete. And here's Lucy. Log in. Now let's have a look at the advanced reboot. And we can see we've still got Linksys on the original partition. So you can go back to stock anytime you like. And this is now running the new OpenWrt version 5.15, which is the new DSA version. That's there again, 5.15. And we can confirm that because the switch option in this network has disappeared. So that is how you install OpenWrt DSA version on a Linksys EA8300. And this is what I've done for all of my routers in my recent network upgrade series. I hope it works for you. Obviously, if you're running a router that supports the DSA version already, you can just go straight in and install the DSA version. You don't have to do this, but it's remarkably easy. I think you'll agree. Basically, we just went in, we installed the supported latest version of OpenWrt. We went into a command prompt. We issued one command to increase the partition size. We installed Lucy Advanced Boot to reboot back into the original Linksys software version. We then downloaded, or we configured and downloaded a copy of OpenWrt using the DSA support and using the latest kernel. And then we did exactly the same thing as we did the first time. We just loaded that file onto the router and booted into it. And here we are. Okay, if you found that useful, please like it. And if you want to hear more, please subscribe. Bye.